Hello everyone, and welcome to Star Trek Adventures Event Horizon, a second edition game using the rules by Modifius Entertainment. I am ELH, your disembodied game master voice, because we have a guest individual with us today who you may recognize or at least know their voice from basically the very first Star Trek Adventure game I ever ran, period. Star Trek Adventures Ophion. So that's a good thing. But overall, I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll get started. And we'll start with our guest individual. So, McCall, please introduce yourself and who you're playing.
Hello, I am McCall, currently hijacking ELH's upper left spot until he takes it back. I am playing Admiral Barton Skull of the U.S.S. Ophion.
All right. Up next, I don't know why, Peter, you're up there. Oh, no, Peter's in the right spot. Peter, what do you got going on?
Hey everybody, I'm Peter, Petrus Aquinas around the interwebs, and I am playing the Chief Engineer, the Temerian, Lieutenant Commander Giral.
And do we want to just do a channel point prediction now for the first 20 roll, or?
I mean, we could.
It's easy channel points. That's
It is.
Maybe I'll set some
happen.
gimmick during the credits. Up next is Ravenslore. What do you got going on?
Hey, I'm Ravens or Tony, either one. I'm playing Commander Oliver Mason, the CO of the Event Horizon. You can find us over playing on Crucible Gaming. We play some Pathfinder, some Forbidden Lands, a few other things.
Cool. And last but not least, Steadfast.
hello, Steadfast here. I'm playing Lieutenant Commander Zephyt, Denobulan pilot slash tactical officer slash alien kisser. Should I give it a good time? I'm sure nothing could go wrong.
Yeah, nothing will go wrong. And by the way, my internet issue should be fixed from Messina, but if we drop randomly, stick with us, because I'm going to make this work some way or another. I've got my phone ready to hotspot and everything. But let's get that intro going, and then we'll get started. And welcome back. So, if you need a reminder of what happened last time, let me ask the players first. Did anybody have a supplemental log, or should I summarize?
I think it's all you.
All right, I will summarize. So, what happened last time is there was the final touches being put on the Coaxial Starbase, a special starbase that would dock with the Event Horizon, and then the Event Horizon could coaxial warp drive this starbase around pretty much anywhere in the galaxy, and maybe even beyond. But what matters is, after a few test jumps, the coaxial starbase finally was taken out a good 2,000 plus light years away from Earth. And in the process, the players not only ran into the U.S.S. Ophion in deep space, they ran into our guest individual, Admiral Skull, but they also managed to catch some goo, I think is the best way to put it, where there was this residue left on both the starbase and the Event Horizon that seemed to belong to something organic that was in coaxial space. But coaxial space shouldn't be a thing, because the way coaxial drive works is it folds space. It doesn't actually go through any actual other realm, like, say, QSD or something like transwarp. No, this is something that is brand new, has stumped the players, and where we last left off was everybody talking, everybody interfacing with the Admiral, deciding how to go about entering this coaxial space once more. So the way I'll drop us in, since it's been a little bit, is we'll just be in one of the conference rooms of the Coaxial Starbase. Skull, I'll leave it up to you whether or not you want the big chair if you're going to defer to Ravens. But I'm going to let you all have at it and plan away.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to lean back quietly in my chair. And just look over to Commander Mason's and just say, Commander, as far as I'm concerned, this station is just a diversion for my ship and crew. A most welcome one, I must say. You also don't technically fall under my flag, unless I decide to make it so, but I'm not that kind of admiral. Thus, it's your show. My ship will be more than happy to assist.
All right. Well, the biggest assistance you can be right now, Admiral, I believe, is to, we could use some people. If we're going to try to bring this station across that rift into this unknown space, which is still up for debate whether we should just take the event horizon or bring the station with us. Either way, the station probably should have a skeleton crew. Currently, we only have the 2 members, so.
All right, I will. I'll get the commander to assign a gamma shift over here. They could use the change of pace.
Appreciate that, sir. But the big question, there's a dimension that shouldn't exist. Right? In layman's terms, the coaxial warp drive simply folds space. It's like they explained it to us in elementary school, where you take a piece of paper and you draw 2 dots and you fold it, right? There's no in between, according to the science.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we went nowhere and came back with something, which the hypothesis is there's a space there, and we've been able to, determine a way that we could potentially access it. We just don't know what's in it. We know this goo has some sort of temporal properties, which scares the hell out of me.
I do find it interesting, sir, that we have done multiple quantum jumps with the event horizon and never had any evidence of anything, but the first one that we do with the station, we discover something strange. I'm curious if there's some sort of correlation potentially between size of or mass of the object that we're traveling,
or perhaps mass and distance, because it
Right.
didn't appear when we did the shorter jump.
the short jump, right? But we've been this far, so I'm not sure if we need to potentially run some theories, if we want to do some more jumps with the event horizon to see if we can confirm or deny one of those. But
Well, the math is interesting in that mass or distance shouldn't matter.
right,
But we also had the drive basically wasn't quite an overheat, but it was overclocked, as it were, when we jumped the long distance in quick succession. So that it could also have something to do with whatever flux was happening with the engines at that point. We're out of the woods with that, but it could be.
My understanding, that was a carburetor issue.
Yes, that is what we determined, but I just don't know if that issue had something to do with whatever dynamic shifted when we were picking this goo up.
those would be the only differing variables, right? I mean, we jumped 20,000 light years for the Cytherians and 2,000 here. So yeah, I guess mass, distance, or maybe something weird with the red line. Who knows?
Mathematically, it shouldn't matter. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying mathematically it should, but there could be part of that equation that I'm not aware of.
No, and if it is something about looking into another space, then our math might not even matter, right?
Oh, that gives me a headache.
Theoretically, it could be an entirely different frame.
Chance to invent a new mathematical language.
I know a Vulcan that you'd really like to get to know.
On your ship or elsewhere?
Last I heard, he was still captaining the Amalthea. I could put you in touch.
That might be good.
The question remains. I think it behooves us. I think it's our responsibility to investigate this phenomenon. We have access to this dimension of, if we can even call it that, or believe we do. Do we leave the station or do we bring it with us? My gut tells me to bring the station. It gives us more tools.
That would be my recommendation as well. Commander, the Ophion is more than happy to assist. She's probably about 20 years behind the... let's see, nope. Sorry, out of game math. She's only about 15 years older than the Event Horizon, but she's still one of the Federation's most heavily armed weapon ships.
And her nacelles are bigger than our entire ship. So
I didn't realize that was that big a scale difference. Cool, good to know.
yeah, I think we could fit in your cargo bay.
Yeah.
We will call that Plan B. Although, please do not open up any coaxial drives within the Ophion.
That would be ideal, yes.
Yes.
Well, that's an idea too, but we have a perfectly good station.
We have done it in simulation. But
We've moved a space whale too, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that's something I want to volunteer for. And part of a Dyson sphere. And...
Yeah.
Is there any objections from anyone about moving this starbase?
How did you
No.
decide to, if I may, Commander, how did your starbase choose to end up here, of all places, in this gigantic galaxy?
Funnily enough, we pointed in a direction that was way out there and in the middle of nowhere and low risk analysis, and we just went. That's how we did that. So strangely enough, we were excited to and surprised to see another Federation vessel when we arrived.
I'll get slightly pensive. You haven't met Admiral Ignitrix, have you?
we just came from there,
Yeah,
actually.
That were just over there.
He just leans back, takes a sip of coffee, and laughs. Yeah, that explains it. That explains a lot of it. She and I go way back. We have tea every month or so. Don't drink anything she offers you unless you actually see her replicate it.
What does
Good to know.
What does she do to it?
Once I got to taste the undistilled concept of freedom, it was weird.
The undistilled. That doesn't sound bad. I'm
I'm not saying it's bad.
Okay,
I'm just
gotcha.
saying it was weird. I was expecting Jackleberry tea. Instead, my mind just went in 5 dimensions for 30 seconds.
Huh. That could potentially come in handy somewhere at some point, maybe.
I think we have
Anyways.
enough dimensions to worry about.
Right.
All right, sir. If you can have your ship undock, we'll begin preparations. After you move some people over, we'll get everyone settled, and let's go explore. That's what we're here for, right?
Yep, I will pass a pad and order Hylong to pass the message on to the commander of the Ophion to make it all happen.
All right. Hylong, of course, takes the pad and skedaddles. But one thing that I do need to have Skull's determination on is that mention of the temporal nature of the goo, where, as a reminder, since it has been a little bit, that it was able to restore a bit of medical injury on your Tellarite doctor, where she was able to recover a bit of scar tissue and feel many years younger just by exposure to this goo. So, coming to focus on Skull for a moment, what would Skull's policy be regarding this goo?
Skull's policy would fall in line with Starfleet's in general, which means anything temporal should be touched with a 50-foot pole, only when absolutely necessary.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page there before we went forward. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We got a little bit of it for testing, but that's all I know.
Oh, of course, keeping it for science. We also need to check to see if it possibly was sentient or belonged to anything that might have been sentient. Because if there is life forms if this did belong to a life form and we turned it into space kill, it is our duty to provide reparations.
I actually have notes on that.
Yeah, I
let
believe
me
we did a
see.
test on that last time.
Yeah, okay, here it is. I found it. So you did do a test on it. You did determine that this wasn't the remnants of a creature, so you didn't space roadkill it. But this was like the detritus or the debris, like a jelly.
Yes, right. Good to know. Okay, let's keep the Ferengi cosmetology departments away from this thing.
Honestly, I'd like to keep everyone away from this thing until we can investigate it further.
Yeah. Agreed. I was just going down a list of priorities here. Anything Ferengi. Last thing we need here is a Decora class space whaler.
Valid.
All right.
Well, as far as I could tell, no one else can access this thing. I think it's the coaxial drive that gives us lets us get in there. So,
is there anything we can do during our jump that could increase the event horizon or the station's sensor output? If there's something there that we're just not seeing before, how can we make it that we can see it better?
There's not supposed to be anything there.
Exactly. That's why we got to look more.
But
if we split... Oh, apologies. Go ahead.
ELH question.
Yes.
Can I jury rig, since that is one of my talents?
Peter, you're going to roll a 20, but sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, can I jury rig a connection from the sensors to the coaxial to try to run them through the same sort of dimensional network that they operate in?
You can. It's going to require a roll, which you will roll a 20 on, but you can do it.
Absolutely, but I just want to try.
All right. Daring and engineering. Difficulty of 2. Complication range 19 to 20.
Prove us all wrong, Peter. Come on.
Yep. Should I use the one momentum that we have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that's what it's there for.
Peter.
Well,
Peter. I say it as a joke every time.
Every
time it's a joke.
Technically, it was a 19, but
was the
still.
comp 19?
Yeah,
It wasn't a 20, but it's still a complication.
And it was a difficulty of 2, which means the only way for this to succeed is if you take 2 complications.
Can the ship help?
Yeah, the ship can help with engines and engineering.
All right, Peter.
All right, let's see
Here we
what
go.
happens. And that's on an 18, or is it 17
18 to 20 for the
18
ship.
to 20.
Okay.
Okay, so
Oh,
that
okay.
does change things. That actually gives your momentum back, but there is still a complication on the field with a success this time. So, Gerald, you pull up a pad and you do some remote connections and jury rig a bit of connections, but the problem and the complication is going to be that now your sensors don't work in normal space.
Yep.
That's funny. How easy is it for you to flip the switch on that?
Probably would be able to get it back in the not too long,
Well,
but
I mean, that's not bad. The station has working normal space sensors, and we can have working coaxial space sensors during the jump. So
yeah, that'll work. It's not
still
my
bad.
finest moment, but
Irregardless, let's set a course. See what we can see once everyone's ready.
If I may, I could offer that the Ophion split engage its MVAM mode and utilize it as far apart as the coaxial hole will allow it for a wider sensor net.
I mean, if you want to take a look.
We'll certainly,
Isn't
we will certainly, so we'll My suggestion then is that the event horizon take the center of the hole, and then is flanked on all sides by pieces of the Ophion, and we'll go from there.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're locked into the station when we do our jump.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yes.
No, you're good.
Now that is interesting because I'm just trying to figure out how to adjudicate that in the rules. Give me one moment. Because I think before we were basically following the Spore Drive rules, just modified a little bit.
Yeah.
So the question now becomes, how do we accommodate the MVAM of the Ophion? Interesting.
If you can, of course. You know, that's me. I just show up and I throw monkey wrenches into ELH's plans.
That's
I mean, I wouldn't have you here if I didn't appreciate it.
It
I'm
could
just trying to
just
think
assist us.
here.
Right?
Let me see if I can find the rules here real quick. Should be on page 14.
My suggestion would be that we just do a create an advantage roll.
Could be. So yeah, I'll offer a few suggestions, and of course you all can provide a number of alternatives, but two immediately come to mind. The first is that we simply increase the complication range of the actual coaxial jump, where instead of it being like a 20 or a 19, you would go all the way to 16, because you're accommodating 3 sections of the Ophion, so it does increase things. Another thing, as McCall has suggested, is we could have you all roll to create a trait, which would represent the expansion of the coaxial field. Though with Peter's rolls, we'll probably be here with another 6 complications. And a third one just occurred to me is that what you could do is you could technically have the Ophion dock with the station, and then just take one point or one part of the Ophion out into coaxial space. So you would still have the, either the beta and the gamma, or the alpha and the gamma, or the gamma and the beta, whichever way you wanted to split it up. But you would have one piece connected to the station and the other two just waiting. But it is your all call. You're the ones in charge here.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought we were going to use the Ophion to conduct a scan as we were making our passage. I don't know if we want to bring a second ship, do we?
That is fair.
A third ship? Or fourth
5.
ship?
Fourth ship?
Six?
Right. Yeah. How many
How
pieces
many shorecraft do we
Yeah.
have? Launch them all. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's have the Ophion just be on the edge of the coaxial hole and have their sensors run in all directions, and see what we get from that side, from normal space side.
Okay.
Since apparently the normal sensors no longer function on this vessel.
Correct.
And we know that time's strange in this dimension, so we might be coming back in a week. Even if it's a minute, we might be coming back in a year, right? So we need something here to let Starfleet know what happens if something strange occurs.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. In that case, my only remaining question is, Skull, are you going to be on the starbase as it jumps, or are you going to be on the Ophion as they go through and jump?
Oh, what the heck? Skull has been through every form of transportation known to Starfleet. He hasn't been on one of these yet. He's more than happy to set up in the command center of the station.
Okay.
He'll leave his wife and kid behind on the Ophion and smoke me a kipper. I'll be home for breakfast.
Love it. All right. Well, in that case, what we see then is the Ophion does still split up into 3 parts. So we see the Alpha section, the top part of the Prometheus class, just sort of soar up to the top of the station. The Beta section, which is the upper 2 nacelles, kind of flows down to camera down left. And then the Gamma section, the bottom 2 nacelles, goes camera down right. And then, of course, the event horizon is docked with the station itself. Every system check has passed. Everything that you are seeing suggests that you should be okay. But we all know what happens next could change very much in an instant. Now, of course, your friend, Lieutenant Commander Sotek, is with you, Skull. He is in the command center of the starbase to liaison as well. But I think this role is going to be very important for various reasons. So let's see what happens. So the first things first is you do have to spend a reserve power, and you would have reserve power since this is a new session, so you would have reserve power again. As a reminder that you need to perform a control and a science, and the ship assists you within engines and science. And for this, the difficulty would be a 3.
Oof. 3, huh?
Mm-hmm. And you know what? What the heck? I've got some threat. Let's make things even more interesting. I'm going to spend 2 threat to make the complication range a 17 to 20.
This is where we go, and that's it, and then more keeps happening.
The ship will stay at 18 to 20, but everybody else who's maybe doing rolls is 17 to 20.
I didn't want to spend determination this early, but
I think we should save the determination rolls for getting us out.
it's crazy talk.
Look, he has cautious talents, not bold talents. He has a family to return home to. Dang it. I mean, it's your game. I'm just here to have fun.
I don't know. I mean, we do have to survive getting there, so.
That actually raises an interesting question. What do admirals get in 2nd edition? That is a good question.
What is
yeah,
that?
that's true. Yeah.
Let me look. Let me see if I can find an answer to that as you all figure out who's doing what rolls.
I mean, I'll do the roll because I'm almost certain that my control science is the highest.
Yeah, that's for sure a you thing.
And I do have a focus.
I have an advisor, so I could assist you with my command.
Yeah.
And allow you to re-roll 1d20.
Nice.
That would be lovely. That would cost us a momentum.
No, because first assist is free. It's the second assist. Oh, no, because of the ship. You're right. It would cost the 1 momentum.
But with the reroll, I think that's
a
good idea.
Yeah. Reroll is definitely useful.
And my control science is doo-doo, so I don't think I should assist unless we absolutely require it.
Okay. So, Mr. Skull, you're rolling a presence command assist. As a reminder, it's a 1 die and assist, and if you have a focus, focuses can still apply. Commander Mason, are you spending your determination, or are you going to just go for it, kind of a thing?
I am going to spend determination.
Okay, what value?
I'm going to use mission parameter.
Okay.
Because we have a mission parameter to uphold the standards of Starfleet, and this is exactly what we're doing, right? Exploration is a pillar of Starfleet society.
Okay, I like it. Make sure you make a note of that for advancement purposes. Wow, all right. Well, there's already two from Skull.
Determination. We'll make it. Just how many complications?
Nice.
All right.
17 to 20.
And there it is. All right, so that is 5 successes.
It wasn't the advisor.
Advisor reroll. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, once again, it's 1 in something like 400 odds or 800 odds or 4. It's highly unlikely you'll roll another complication.
Now, if I hit reroll results, will it reroll both?
It'll let you choose.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well,
Nice.
We'll take the 8. Either way, we'll take the 8. So that is a total of 6 successes. It was a difficulty of 3, so your momentum goes up to 3. And no complications. Well done indeed. So again, narratively what happens is the edge of the event horizon begins to glow, and then the edge of the coaxial starbase begins to glow, and then it just begins folding in on itself until it goes to a very fine point, winks out of existence, and then you all are in coaxial space, which again shouldn't exist. But here you are in that blue kaleidoscopic mirror upon mirror sort of extending out to infinity sort of situation. But this time, since your goal is to stay in the space, you don't instantly translate out of it. You sort of linger in this in-between. And what you're seeing is, does anybody remember the very first episode of The Next Generation of TNG where those jellyfish creatures were just sort of around? You all remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
I forget what the name are for those jellyfish creature. I don't know if they were ever given a canon name on screen, but you're basically seeing the same equivalent where it is these massive jellyfish-like creatures that are just sort of floating around this space and just sort of going about their business. None of them really come to, mess with you. None of them really seem to care that you're there, but they're just sort of floating around.
They're called Cynodarians.
Cynodarians. Okay.
Cynodarian.
Memory made for the win.
Well, it's a new scene, I assume.
It is a new scene, yes.
So I have some questions.
I have answers.
He does.
First question, do these Cynodarians seem to be moving at random or with purpose?
Remind me, is this based on your observations only?
Only what I can see.
Only what you can see.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's kind of up in the air because it would be like going to the ocean and watching a school of jellyfish. Are they moving with purpose? Are they moving with the waves? Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay. Jesus, what else can we ask?
I have a very good question.
Okay.
What are we in? Are we in like void? Are we in water? Are we in the concept of truth and reality made of form?
What's our medium?
Yeah, what
is your
medium are we
medium?
currently residing in?
Yeah, that's a great question. What medium can we detect visually? Is really the only thing.
Right.
Is it gel or liquid or?
I would say that it is somewhere between fluidic space and the same sort of underspace that quantum slipstream goes through. So it's not quite fluidic space, it's not full of liquid, but it's also something that isn't subspace. It's a unique actual realm that has never been scanned before.
Okay. So we've asked two questions that allows us to create a trait based on those observations.
It does.
Yeah.
Like the not dead yet trait. That's a good
All
trait.
right. We did it. One success, everybody.
The only thing I can think of is something like out of the way, right? Like we're not going to get run over by a jellyfish.
Yeah.
We can say that.
Good landing. Yeah.
We'll call it good
Safe
landing
distance.
is how we'll
Good
justify
landing's
it.
a good one too.
Good landing. All right, so good landing is in the scene, and as a reminder, the Starbase does still have seamless integration, and you do still have the quantum signature of the goo, which, since you are now in coaxial space, such as it is, you can compare that obtained quantum signature with the jelly.
Do my coaxial sensors show a match?
What do we got? Yeah.
The answer to that, Peter, is yes. It is an exact match
Okay.
that the sort of discharge from these floating giant jellyfish is that goo you ran into.
Well, Commander, we appear to be in the right place based on the matching between the goo that we found and the goo that's out there.
Might I recommend immediately getting our power back just in case we got to get out of here quick?
Absolutely, engineer.
Yeah.
Make that happen.
Okay, that is a...
For you, Peter,
It's
that
control
or for
engineering.
Dural, that is a control and engineering, if I'm remembering correctly.
I believe so.
Difficulty of 1.
Okay. Aha.
Nice.
Okay, so to get back, you get another point of momentum. Well done there.
Mm-hmm. This Scalded Commander Mason.
Go ahead, sir.
Up here in the command center, station's reporting all systems normal. Doesn't look like anything's damaged from the breach.
Yeah, we look like we're in one piece here too, sir.
Now if I'm reading the medium right, looks like we've created a bit of a disbursement of this material upon our landing in it. Are you able to track how it may be affecting local space, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, I'm thinking we should just spend some time throwing out some probes, do some sensors, short and long. I don't think we're in a rush to get out of here. It doesn't look like anything's coming yet.
You want me to undock the event horizon from the station? At least set up a patrol route, or?
Oh, I think the station should be able to handle sensor scan just as well as we can.
Yeah. I don't see a character sheet for the station, but I'm assuming that the station will have a sheet at some point.
It will at
But
some
yeah.
point, yes. I have to make
Yeah,
sure you
I
guys don't
assume-
blow it up first.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Has to survive a couple sessions before it gets a name and
Right.
stats.
Yeah, we can't get too attached too quick.
Yeah, that
It's
makes
like your
sense.
mount D&D, never name it, right? Because as soon as you name
Right,
it.
as soon as you do, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can handle this in one of two ways. If you feel brave enough to roll for a chance at a complication, you can just give me some control sciences. If you would rather just handle it in the narrative, we can handle it that way. It's just, do you feel lucky rolling right now?
We have a guest star. The guest star has to.
Yeah, he has to roll. We can't have him here and not have him roll.
So, I have a nasty thing because he's an admiral, and one of his past hosts was a Federation fighter pilot.
Okay.
Is there
Amazing.
a shuttlecraft or something that he can take out for a spin?
There's an actual runabout in the station currently.
Well, that sounds peachy. How long? Get in. We're going for a drive. The Event Horizon can follow along if they wish.
Sir, you realize that every Starfleet regulation is telling me...
Up. Exploration.
Hailong rolls her eyes. Very well, sir. We will explore.
And take the camera. My kid's going to want some pictures.
Nice.
Yeah, I figured as much. Yep. Okay. So she just goes to her bag and pulls out the holo camera. And so what we see then is we see the Event Horizon undock from the station. And coming up from the top docking bay of the station itself, the doors open up and a runabout pops out. And you all now can go about and start scanning as you wish.
Commander, a runabout is disembarked from the station.
Commander Mason to Admiral Skull.
Skull here.
Are you stealing one of my runabouts, sir?
I'm an admiral. This means I am just transferring my flag to it temporarily.
I'm not sure that's how it works, sir.
I can quote several. I can quote several statutes that say that that's precisely how it works. Plus, I have two.
I don't believe you can, sir.
I have two pips that say I can go wherever the heck I want. Besides, the Event Horizon is more than welcome to follow in my wake if you are if you think you can keep up.
Does Zephyr take that as a challenge?
I'm like itching the controls. And I'm waiting for orders. Like, is that a yes? Is that a no?
Understood. We'll follow you, sir. Mason out.
All right, well, a challenge has been made, so I think we have to follow up on that challenge.
Nice.
So the way this will be is Skull, you will be rolling a control and a con. And Zephyr, you will also be rolling a control and a con. The difficulty for each of you is 1, and this is an opposed test because you are jockeying for position who is actually in the lead.
I really missed the first edition talents for Trill, which could allow me to temporarily create a focus based on a past life.
Yeah.
But,
You actually do have that, or... Oh, it didn't come across in your new character sheet. Because technically,
No.
if you are a joined Trill, you do have that ability. I think you just have to spend momentum.
Oh, well, I do have momentum to spend, so I'll spend a momentum to temporarily gain the small craft focus.
Okay.
And this is a opposed task, you said?
Yep.
So I believe that learning names. Jaral rolls the task first, and then I have to meet or beat.
Zephyr.
What?
Zephyr,
but
sorry.
I thought you said the diff, Al, but are you?
So for an opposed test, the way it works is you both are rolling against a difficulty of 1, and
we
whoever
both
gets
are.
the most
Yeah.
successes is the one that leads. If it comes out that it's a tie, that is where the active character, the one initiating the roll, wins the tie.
Do you just want to do a gentleman's agreement and both of us just buy one die? So we're not gonna like try to fill the pool.
As far as I'm concerned, I've spent my 1 momentum to gain a focus.
Gotcha.
That I'm not going to spend it. I'm not going to take an extra dice. If you want to, you're more than welcome to do so.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
This is basically an old man living out his youth. So, his youth from like 2 hosts ago. But you know.
Nice.
Okay. Difficulty seems to be a 2 here.
Yeah. I'm still keeping with the gentleman's agreement, so I'm just gonna roll a flat 2 with the focus applied. So.
Okay. Okay.
Oh no.
That is about what I was expecting. So, narratively, what that's going to look like is, for a little bit, we see the runabout, going through this new space. We see the event horizon on its tail. Sometimes the event horizon gets ahead. Sometimes the runabout gets ahead. And the entire time, sensors are going wild. So, Giral and Mason, you guys are looking at sensor readouts from probes and other things as you're flying about the space. Hailong is, of course, taking pictures of, Skull at the con and of outside, and it's a very majestic scene. But what's going to happen is, I'm going to spend some threat for this, is that you get to a point where the starbase has sort of vanished into the ether because you've gotten far enough away that, you get so far out you can no longer visually see it. And once the starbase is no longer within view, still on sensors, just not in view, one of the jellyfish creatures begins to drift in your direction. And I'm actually going to do is I'm going to spend... I think I actually have to spend all of it because you all are PCs and it's 2 per PC in the scene. So I think I have to spend all 8 threat to do this. But what's going to happen is this jellyfish... I'm going to do this diplomatically. I'm going to roll a D2. 1 will be the Admiral's runabout. 2 will be the event horizon. So let's see. Congratulations, Event Horizon. You have been jellyfished.
That's probably better.
Yeah.
The jellyfish comes over, and it's very weird where its tendrils don't quite touch you, but there's this sheer gravimetric force that pulls you into its tendrils, and you're now in the tendrils of this jellyfish.
Well, I'm immediately going to bank the runabout 180 degrees and hover about, 400 kilometers away, just in case. And if comms still work out here, I will ask if they were. I will say, Skull standing by if you need assistance.
Don't know yet, sir, but we'll certainly reach out.
Reach out. I see what you did there.
Comms still work, I'm assuming? We still have engine control, right?
No, so the one thing is that your engines right now are not working. There is something about the grasp of this creature which is disabling impulse, but you still have power. You have not lost warp drive. You just don't have impulse right now.
I'm going to go check on the carburetor.
Do you think it's the carburetor or not the giant jellyfish?
I don't know if whatever the jellyfish is doing is going to be affecting the carburetor, and I'd rather not be stuck here.
V pokes her head in from down the hall. Carburetor's fine. It's not purple.
Okay, that's good. Is it like drawing power from our systems, or is it just kind of...
No, it's just kind of like somebody's thrown a giant net over you, and you're just sort of stuck at the moment.
Well, let's see if there's any tension there. Admiral, you're not that much smaller than we are. See if you can tow us out.
Roger that. Engaging tractor beam.
Alrighty. So, tractor beam in 2nd edition is... Let me see.
I still think it's control security.
Yep, still control security, and it's assisted by the ship's structure security, so I'll roll that for you. For the runabout, let's see if the runabout provides an assist. The runabout has rolled a complication.
Well, this will be fun.
So this is already interesting, but the overall difficulty is a 2 here.
Small craft as a focus?
Yes. Okay, so that would mean a success with 2 complications if you so wished.
Hmm.
Is there anything we can do from the Event Horizon to assist in this, or no?
I think this is
Probably.
purely just the runabout at the moment trying to get you out.
I don't
Yeah,
think-
I will. I will do a success with 2 complications. That will make it far more interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first complication is so you do pass. So, what happens is you do begin to draw out the event horizon from the grasp of this jellyfish. The first complication is that one of the jellyfish stingers is going to actually latch onto the hull of the event horizon. And if you have reserve power, your reserve power is shunted away. So, you immediately lose reserve power. The second thing is, as soon as the event horizon is out of the grasp and you have impulse again to zoom away, the jellyfish creature is now going to ensnare the Admiral's runabout. And this time, instead of just taking away your impulse engines, the jellyfish is going to take away all of your power.
Well, that was fun.
Okay.
Now, to clarify, your comm badges still work. You can still communicate, but you're running on borrowed time. You've maybe got about 30 minutes of life support before things get hairy.
Okay.
Sea transport.
That was my thinking.
We'll give the runabout as a gift to the.
Well, we can
beautiful
try to pull it
jellyfish
out. I
empress.
just think we might
Yeah.
want to get the people off first.
Right. Yeah.
Dural, see if you could rig up a probe. Have it make an energy source like that way. My guess is this thing's just going to follow it.
Can do, sir.
So firing a probe, no roll required, but you fire it off, and the jellyfish doesn't seem to care. Just doesn't seem to care about the probe.
Are any of us familiar with the Farpoint mission logs?
Your call's characters.
I don't know that I would be.
The only reason I think Mason would probably know about it is the connection to the queue.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, only because the only reason I bring that up out of character is that the Synodarians in Farpoint did have some manner of intelligence, so we could potentially try that route.
Do we know how to communicate with them?
You haven't tried yet.
Well, let's get the Admiral off that runabout first.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because it's funny, we will actually do the transport test. And this is a control engineering. Your target is not on a transporter pad. Difficulty goes up by 1. You're beaming them to a pad, so the difficulty goes down. So I think you're just doing a control engineering assisted by the Event Horizon sensors engineering at a difficulty of 2. No pressure, Dural. Not at all.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think I have a focus for this. I'm gonna use.
I mean,
a
surely
momentum-
you're not going to scatter the Admiral's atoms into everything.
No.
I'm going to use a momentum just in case.
Okay, 2 successes. And then just need to see sensors engineering from the Event Horizon. There you go. You actually
Nice.
get 2 momentum back. Well done. Bring you up to 5. So, what that's going to mean is, Skull, you and Hailong materialize in the little alcove of the Event Horizon where their transporter pad is.
closet.
And yeah, the runabout is still within the grasp of the creatures, but they don't seem to care that you transported anybody off, so that's a good sign.
Can we get Impulse back?
Impulse is back. I'm good to go as soon as it disconnected. Do you want me to tractor beam the runabout, or?
Let's leave it there for now. Let's get some distance. Here's some time to study these things. And welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for your dramatic timing, Commander. He gets a bit of a twinkle in his eye. If we get out of here, I will thank you properly.
I appreciate that. If you get dead, my chances of becoming captain in the next 2 or 3 years is probably nil. So I am vested into keeping you in one piece.
I appreciate that. You would have much more to worry about if my wife found out that something terrible happened to me. But then again, all you would have to do is play the logs and show that I was the reason for my own demise. So
I did want to point that out, sir.
That was some good flying there, Admiral. Very impressive.
thank you. I will tell you of the raid on Dominicus 4 during the Federation Cardassian War one day.
I would love to hear that. Thank you, sir.
Now,
I will pull back.
I will find an empty seat and just sit back and let the crew do their work.
So the best part is that the bridge is so small because
Look.
it's Defiant class size. There's like one extra chair that you can sit in.
He can have my seat. I'll stand.
Okay. that
Oh
works too.
no! Oh, there will be a little bit of are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He stands a lot. He stands a lot. It's okay.
Mason has
Welcome
a
to the
standing desk
summary.
in his ready room.
So question number 1, is that runabout getting any younger?
Well, I think we can answer that via a sensor scan. So if you could give me a reason and a science assisted by the Event Horizon sensor science. Difficulty of 1 on this one. Well, got an assist from the Event Horizon.
Oh, Foundry, you hate me so.
All right, that is
Nice.
3 successes, meaning you actually have cap momentum of 6 plus 1 floating. So, what you're going to determine, Mr. Mason, is that yes, the runabout is nominally becoming more simple, or is becoming simpler, is how I will put it. Where fatigue to the metal is repairing, anything that would, how do I put this?
Like ODN corrosion.
Yeah,
stuff like
ODN
that.
corrosion, anything that would have been damaged. Basically, the runabout is returning to its pristine state as it rolled off the yards. But it is not decaying past that point, where there does seem to be a cutoff where rather than it decaying into, say, a pile of metal,
Right.
it just is reverting to its pristine form.
Okay, so we have 1 momentum overflow. We'll use that for obtain information. Can
Okay.
we tell from the sensor scans, is it the energy they're giving off or the biology that they're giving
Right.
off that's causing that?
It is the biology, because the
So-
tendrils, as they're ensnared around the runabout, you do see that there is now kind of a goo, the same goo that you collected earlier. There's now goo around the runabout.
We want another question. 2
Yeah.
questions are good for this group.
Yeah.
And this was off a scan. Can we determine with the scan if there's, and you guys, if you have questions, certainly throw them in there.
Yeah.
Is there enough brain activity or neurological activity to determine that they're sentient?
Sentient?
Or
That I can answer
Sentient?
immediately. Yes, they
Yeah.
are sentient. They just haven't started communicating with you, probably because they're waiting for you to do the same.
perfect. So we had 2 questions that lets us make a trait.
It
Yeah.
does.
Jellyfish biology, maybe?
Yeah.
All right.
Jellyfish whisperer.
Because Mason is very smart and will make sure to tell everybody how smart he is
Okay.
all the time.
So Nidarian biology, got it. Nidarian biology. All right, you now have the trait.
Cool.
Well, sir, we have a pretty good understanding of these things. Guess
Excellent.
step 2 is to figure out how to talk to him.
Yeah.
Well, let's try our method first, and if our method doesn't work, then we'll see. Then we'll check to see how they communicate amongst each other.
What do you suggest? We hail them?
All frequencies and all frequencies, all methodologies.
All right. You want
run
to
it.
be? You want to take the lead on this, sir?
If you don't mind, it's been about a year or so since I've made first contact with another species. If I don't do it often within a certain period of time, they could revoke my admiralship.
I don't think that's true either. Sir.
No, that part is certainly not true.
Understood.
Um,
As the Admiral said, open a channel.
Okay. Channel is open. What do you say?
to the beings that we have identified as Sindarian, I identify myself as Admiral Barton Skull on board the Federation starship U.S.S. Event Horizon. We apologize for intruding upon your space. We are simply exploring and we have no hostile means. If you're able to respond, or if you're able to understand us, please make a gesture or respond in kind.
Okay. This is going to be a roll, Mr. Skull. This is a presence and command, assisted by the Event Horizon's communications and command. Difficulty. Difficulty of 4.
Mind if I take a momentum for a third dice?
You might want more than that.
Yeah, take as much as you
That's
want. We got,
Take it.
we got, we
Okay,
got
I'll
six.
take
The
two.
momentum. Yes.
We don't hoard momentum here.
No, we do not.
Spend it.
Because we need it.
Diplomacy
is a
definitely
focus.
is a focus. Well, there's already your 4 successes. You could technically
Nice.
reroll that 15 if you wanted a crit fish.
Oh yeah, right. I have cautious. Why not?
And then, Peter, are you getting communications command for the ship?
Communications. Yes, I will do
Nope, no crit.
that.
All right.
Okay, so
Nice.
that is 5 successes overall, which means you get a momentum back. Well done. Oh, and thank you, Technonerd. I actually did not see that threat that you redeemed. Thank you. I will happily take that 2 threat.
Thanks, Techno.
Yes, thank you,
Oh,
Techno.
Thank you,
But
Techno.
the good news is that since you succeeded so well, what's going to happen is the Nidarians, and I looked it up, it's pronounced Nidarian according to Memory Alpha.
There we go.
The Nidarians are going to reply, audio only, they don't really do video. But when they speak, it's kind of with an ephemeral, sort of like a hymn or a chorus you would find in a church kind of situation. Now, of course, I'm not going to do that because I can't do it in real life. So just imagine with your minds just a chorus being answered. And what they say is, "Hello, Admiral Skull of the Event Horizon. We apologize if we have damaged your craft in any way. We were unsure what it was that had entered our space."
It brings me joy to speak to you. We believe that our species have crossed paths once before in the realm of space that is native to our own. 2 of your beings were held where one of your beings was held captive against its will, in an act of barbarism committed by our people. Our people then realized our mistake and have rectified that. I am unaware if you are aware of such of this interaction, but it is well documented among my kind.
So what's going to happen is the Nidarian actually raises a tentacle towards the Event Horizon. Doesn't try to grab it, just raises a tentacle towards you. You would all detect that you are being scanned. So if you want to block the scan, you can. But if not, you get scanned. And then the Nidarian replies, you are from Starfleet. Interesting.
That is correct. You are aware of our organization.
Kind of hard to miss.
That is true. We do have a tendency to spread out.
Well, what brings you to our realm?
We seek exploration and understanding. A means of travel, a new means of travel has given us cause to believe that we may have accidentally intruded on your realm. We wished to thoroughly understand this method by which we entered your space and learn more about you and your people, your fellow Nidarians.
And there's a pause. There is a shift in the creature where it stops gooing the runabout, and it just kind of takes the runabout with a tendril and then kind of puts it out away from it. And then it kind of gives the runabout a little pat with its tendril. and the goo comes away on the tendril, so it's not just a note of affectation. It actually is just pulling the goo away. But the creature replies, "You are welcome to explore our space just as we have explored yours. All we would ask is that we do not repeat the Farpoint situation."
Of that, you have nothing to worry about. I have stood and what's the phrase I'm looking? I have stood and made promises to similar situations to beings that we mean no harm, and I stand by that. Should you or your people come to have less than pleasant interactions with Starfleet or our people, I ask that you make the necessary the necessary means to find me and contact me personally so that I may repair such damages caused.
That would be nice. We have not had a line with Starfleet in many, many years.
I am unaware of how you willingly travel between your realm and ours. However,
would you like a demonstration?
No.
I look to the commander first. Given that we are separated, so the commander is immediately going, "No." That would be welcome under more controlled circumstances. You may be aware that we have separated from another portion of our vessel and have left it further beyond in your space. We would like this. I believe a demonstration would be in order where once we have reunited with it.
Oh, okay. We'll follow you then.
Very well. I look forward to talking with you further.
And channel is closed.
I sit down. I was unaware that I had actually stood up for this whole chat, and I just look at Commander Mason, and I assume that is acceptable to you, Commander?
Outstanding, sir. You're way better at that than we are.
You are a vessel that is going to go to literally any point in this galaxy. May I suggest that you brush up on Starfleet Command's diplomatic and first contact protocols? I found a hololecture by Jean-Luc Picard dated 2364 to be very insightful.
Well, I've done the reading, sir.
You've done the reading. Now you just have to do the living. That comes in time, and I give you a pat on the back. Your ship, Commander. I just took over its megaphone.
All right, Helm, take us back to the station. Nice and slow.
Bring the runabout with us, or?
Yes, we should probably bring that with us.
And
Actually,
I think what happens is, for
for
comedic effect, what happens is Hailong, because Hailong is big. She's like 7-8 feet, maybe sometimes 9 feet tall if you include her horns. So she's already stooped over just to be in the event horizon. Yeah. So she kind of pokes her head through the bridge door and goes, yes, please bring the runabout. You have a nice ship, but I'd rather not dent the ceiling moving around.
Cargo bay does have a slightly larger ceiling.
Right. Yeah, I guess we'll tractor beam it, bring it back to the station with us.
Okay. So, a little bit of a montage. You manage to get the runabout back to the Coaxial Starbase. The runabout goes back into the shuttle bay. No issues there. And at this point, the Nidarian that you were talking with has come with you. But it's also been joined by 3 other Nidarians. And so you've got the Starbase, the Event Horizon, and 4 Nidarians out there.
We got a welcoming committee now.
Nice.
Are we able to determine, like, are there visual differences to each Nidarian? Like, are they different sizes, shapes?
Right.
Number of tendrils?
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a good question. I will say that the initial one is more of a purple hue. The other 3 are more of a red hue. and they are smaller than the original Nidarian.
I think
Sir,
we
I have
figured
a
out how
million
they are.
questions.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a million. That's an exaggeration. At least a dozen.
Well, the question is, how do you want to go about asking those questions, I think?
Oh, I started by asking the Admiral.
Oh, you're asking me. Oh, um, so the first thing I'd like to know is how they communicate amongst each other.
Okay.
Surely our arrival has caused a stir, both literally and figuratively. They're probably talking to each other in methods that we're not 100% sure about. Perhaps electronic discharge, or maybe they are touch telepathic. If my logs are right, they're at least slightly telepathic in nature. So, do you think the Event Horizon can determine that, Miss? I'm sorry, names. Mr. Jarrell?
I believe so, since we are still in coaxial space. The coaxial sensors should tell us something.
All right. This is going to be, whoever wants to make the roll, it's going to be an insight and science or an insight command. I'll allow either. And the Event Horizon will assist with a communications and science.
I've got 14 on that. But no real focus.
An insight
got
and
no
what? Mine would only be a 12, I think.
Insight
Mine's
command
yeah.
and insight science.
Insight science for me would be a 11. Insight command is higher, but I don't know how that would work here.
Oh, difficulty. I forgot the difficulty. Difficulty of 3.
Do you have a focus for that?
No. I have diplomacy. That's the closest one I have, and none of my past lives would be able to assist.
I have an insight command of 13 with investigation potentially as a focus.
I could give investigation as a focus.
Statistically, that's your best shot.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Go for it.
Alrighty, and the diff was
3.
3. Oops, did
Well,
not.
the Event Horizon assists you, so that's good.
Cool.
We do have a trait for those guys too. So.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
do
that
have a
was gonna be my
trait.
next question,
So
yes.
difficulty comes down to a 2.
Okay, cool. Then I will use a momentum for a third die.
Okay.
And see what happens. Alrighty.
Do you have? You
I
do have
do-
determination.
Yeah, I think. I mean, could you never let your guard down in the event of just double, triple investigating these things, or we have the mission directives, which would still apply.
Well, whichever you choose, just make sure you note it down.
Yeah, we'll do mine, and then I'll just reroll all 3 of those. Let's try
Okay.
that again.
There you go. You
Oops.
got. You're
don't
missing
know.
1. You didn't
Yeah,
roll.
Thought I clicked the reroll the right way, but it didn't do it.
Okay, so that is 2 successes in addition to what the ship gave you. And what I'm going to say then is that, how do I want to say this? They are operating on the same wavelength as the Troy channel, but as much as I joke about the Troy channel on another show, this is something more. This is like on another level. Like, for example, let's say, you're across a pool from somebody, and there's a few ways you can talk to that person. You could shout over the pool. You could go underwater, talk through the water. You could take a flashlight and kind of maybe do Morse code or something of that nature. What these jellyfish, what the Nidarians are doing, is more akin to taking a cannon and literally shotgunning their answers across the pool to one another.
Huh.
Subtle.
Interesting.
So high intensity.
High intensity, but it only affects empathic creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Which I checked, the only... Oh no. There is somebody who's telepathic empathic. Oh no.
Oh no.
Mr. Sotek.
Mr.
Didn't someone
Sotek,
mention that-
indeed.
Someone did generate some threat earlier, I
I did
believe.
generate threat.
Isn't V also potentially susceptible to this?
V. Ooh, this is an excellent point. All right, I'm going to do this nice. I'm going to roll 2d20. If I roll underneath a 10, they're fine. If I roll over a 10, they may be in medical distress.
That's not good odds at all.
While I rolled a 13, let's expand that out. I have rolled a 1, so V, completely fine. V, amazing. She's doing great. In fact, she's feeling better. She feels happy. She feels like she could go into a dance right now. Mr. Sotek, you get a call from the Gamma station that have transferred over from the Ophion, and they say, Coaxial Station to Admiral Skull, we have a situation. Lieutenant Commander Sotek has fallen ill. Please advise.
If possible, administer sedation. He is likely experiencing the unintentional side effect of very powerful telepathic communications. Recommend medical sedation until we return to normal space. Sorry, Sotek.
And Sotek doesn't reply, but the officer speaking to you says, right away, Admiral, we will provide the appropriate administrations.
I'm just going to look. I'm assuming that because this is the station's dry run. I'm assuming that their sick bay isn't fully stocked until Tuesday.
Well, the good news, at least according to my notes, is a certain Tellarite doctor took over the Starbase's med bay for the duration of this experiment.
Oh,
That's true.
But more to the point, since V actually succeeded so well, she's going to poke her head in and say, you are aware that the Nidarians are basically like gushing like school children. I don't know if that even is a phrase for you all, but they're like super eager to like talk with you and show you how they go between space, and they're just blasting thoughts all over the place.
Can you tell them that we are curious and have questions as well?
Yeah, I've already said that. I've also asked them to not shout so loud, and they've taken that under advisement.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
But I would recommend maybe not staying here too long because, like I said, they're blasting it everywhere. So unless we want to be in the middle of a lot of Nidarians, probably don't want to stay here too long.
I don't want to stay here longer than we need to. Admiral, can you let them know that we are going to return to our space and we will come back shortly?
Agreed.
Shortly, once we understand what just happened.
I'll pass on the message, and I will advise that if they wish to traverse alongside us, keeping a safe distance, just because we're not entirely sure yet how our mode of transportation affects their realm. If they wish to translate alongside us, they are welcome to do so.
We don't want to cross the streams. It causes all kinds of...
No. Crossing the streams never works.
Never works. All right, well, I'm just going to say then, in that case, that you take the Starbase and you and the Event Horizon transition back right next to where you left the Ophion. And after maybe about 2 or 3 minutes of waiting, there is a little sort of crack of light next to the station, and the hole gets bigger and bigger, and out comes the 4 Nidarians that were around the Starbase initially. Now, one thing I would say is that apparently in the real realm, quote unquote, the Nidarians are even larger than they were before.
Of course they are.
After a while, it doesn't matter, right? It's like, once you hit kaiju, it's kaiju.
Yeah.
Like double-sized kaiju, okay.
We're going to need a bigger Godzilla.
My question is, what is the star date?
Yeah.
Oh, right, because the temporal nature.
Yeah.
I have
Is
two
it the
thread.
right time?
I have 2 thread.
You do have 2 thread.
Skull, how angry would your wife be if you were missing for 2 weeks?
I would say very.
You've been gone for 3 weeks. Congratulations.
Nice.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to take stress damage right now.
And
See the
narratively,
Stardate update on the
Right.
screen, like, oh no.
narratively, how long were we there in that space for us and our sensors?
About 3 hours.
Okay.
So basically, it translates to an hour equals a week.
Yeah. Okay.
I just I don't. Let's do a scan. See if any more of that temporal jelly made it around with them. If they leave that every time, if they leave that in space every time they travel, that is an interesting idea.
We need to ask them if they know about that. Do they have any way of controlling that? Or like, that's a lot of cool stuff we could learn.
Tell you what, if you want, we can spend 1 momentum to say that a little bit of the jelly did come with them.
I don't think we want any more jelly.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have some, and we have the runabout that got hyper DH, so that's two good sources of study, right?
I'll take it for Starfleet medical.
There you go.
Yeah. Skulls, Commander.
Sorry?
If any of that, if you have an excess of that stuff, I will claim it. I'll take it with me whenever the Ophion makes it back to Starfleet. I have a feeling Starfleet Medical would appreciate some of this.
Sir, I'm not sure that we should allow this into the general public quite yet.
Yes, I believe you are correct in that. Yes. See what
I'm perfectly happy to have it in your care.
Yeah.
Your ship is much better able to defend itself than mine. But people would start wars over this substance.
Agreed. I've heard tales of a species that has completely isolated itself because they found potions of youth. So, agreed. I believe that I respect your counsel there, Commander. I believe that let's destroy as much of it as we can. We'll save some samples for scientific purposes, but let's not leave any drifting around.
Understood, sir.
He's going to take a small sample of it back to his wife as an apology gift.
See,
Just,
that's
here,
why.
Here, I'm gone for 3 weeks. Hey, but I got you this cool space goo.
Interesting.
It's so illegal.
Oh, Lord.
Look, it'll take years off your life. Yes, I know you're Romulan and you don't age as fast as many of us do. But
oh, Lord. All right, so I guess the question then becomes, what do you ask the Nidarians at this point? Because they're just sort of chilling. They're just sort of vibing in space.
I think I want to learn about the color differentiation, right? Like what the purple and the red dictates. Is that age? Is that, you know, what does that mean? See if they know about their goo. Can they control their temporal goo? Like, do they know that it has that effect? And if they do, is it something that they do on purpose? Like,
Or do they just shit time?
right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I was wondering who was going to say that.
Oh, I've been waiting all session for somebody to ask, do they shit time? That's great. Okay, so the only reason I'm going to ask for a roll and a little bit of roleplay here is because it matters how you ask that question. So is that going to come from Skull? Is that going to come from Mason? Is that going to come from Zephit, Jaral? Who's doing the speaking, and what is it you say?
So Skull is basically going to say, Commander, I'm just passing through here. After we're done here, the Ophion is going to continue on its mission. So I hate to do this. Actually, I kind of like to do this because I like to encourage growth in those I meet. You're going to have to take over communication with these beings, as for the foreseeable future, you're the one that's going to be encroaching on their realm, potentially.
It seems likely the Event Horizon is the only ship that can access it. Sir, if I may make a request.
Of course.
I think it's wise, perhaps, to classify this particular event until more study can be done.
I believe that the whole coaxial mission is still currently under Starfleet's classification as experimental technology, and thus everything is classified by default. However, I will be sure to add an additional level of classification to these Nidarians and their byproducts.
Thank you, sir. Your counterpart has been anxious to show off the Event Horizon and its capabilities. It is less classified than I'd like.
And just as a out-of-game thing, which admiral are you referring to?
Ignitrix.
Of course it's Ignitrix. Look, she outranks me a lot. I like to think that my opinions have some sway over her. Next time we meet for tea, I will be sure to talk with her about this.
Thank you, sir.
So, Commander, I step off the command chair and, in a great show of gratitude and gesturing, offer the chair back to Commander Mason. Commander, the comms are yours.
Thank you, sir. And Godspeed.
So, I think this is an appropriate moment to bring this session to a close, because I think at this point, you just are going to be asking a lot of questions of the Nidarians.
For the next hour, probably.
For at least the next hour, if not 2 hours.
If I may, before things close off.
Sure, what you got?
Sure. I will, as I offer him the chair, I will go, oh, by the way, Commander, you currently have a starbase and a ship under your command. I know you may question me on my knowledge of Starfleet regulations, but even you have to understand that that is a significant amount of responsibility for a mere commander. Thus, I believe it is only fair that you are promoted to acting captain for as long as both your command of both vessels allows. Such it will be mentioned in log as temporary command under classified circumstances, and it will expire as soon as Starfleet takes possession of the coaxial station once again, unless of course they decide to give it to you permanently. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. So, congratulations, Captain. And I do a mock salute, and I quickly look around and go, well, Captain on the bridge.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I'll stand up and do the salute.
Yeah. Jarrell stands up and does the Temerian salute. I don't know. That's a little different.
What is that? Even your salutes are strange. Put your hand.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Okay. Thank you, sir. We will we'll continue our investigation. I will make sure to reach out to you personally about what we find.
I'm only a subspace call away for as long as I'm within range of a Midas receiver.
Understood, sir.
All right. And that is where we'll bring this session to a close. Well done indeed. And I do want to say thank you, McCall, for coming to guest star. Always a pleasure.
Fun.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm happy to bring him out and blow some dust off him.
Yeah. It's always
He's
a
very
treat.
reasonable man.
Yeah. Because like I said, the Ophion was basically the it was the second game of Star Trek Adventures I ever ran back in 2017. It's nearly been 10 years, 9, 8. I can do math in my head. 8 years at this point. So always kind of fun to close the loop back in and bring in old characters.
That's cool.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody, but YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye-bye, YouTube.
Bye-bye.